Hello there everybody, Sparanai2 aka Nightmare, and welcome back to Irae, Amantes, Amentes. In the last episode, I actually had a bit of culture shock involving the priest wanting to bathe with the younger girl, which, a couple of you people were actually pointing this out that it's kind of a normal thing, and I don't know, I guess it is just because I'm American, I just found it very weird, but oh well, that's to be expected. I mean, I did not realize that that was actually part of a. I did not realize that that was actually part of some cultures. Well, I learned something new today. Thank you very much for kind of pointing that out. I honestly did not know that. I thought that was just a gimmick that's used for a cheap joke. And I feel stupid. I'm sorry if I offended anybody on that one. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't. I did not realize that. Well, anyway, thank you guys for kind of pointing out that it's actually a culture thing, and me being American, I just thought it was very weird. Which, well, now that I know a little bit more about it, I kind of find it a little less weird. So, thank you guys for telling me that. But anyway, last episode, we got to meet Priest Boy, and he's finally in here, and we even got to see, oh god, I forgot what their names were, Lisa? We got to go to a church, which, that was fun. Oh, this was another thing that was kind of brought up. I've been trying to figure out some way to make it not actually do that, and try to there were moments where there would be static suddenly showing up on the screen, and that would cause some of the text to be very hard to read. I'm not entirely sure how I can stop my footage from looking that bad, but in case something like that happens, even if it's been voiced, for those who probably can't read it, I will read it out loud whenever that occurs. So, thank you very much for bringing that to my attention, and I'm not entirely sure how I can stop it from happening. But anyway, thank you very much for that. Kasumi was filling my ears with that nonsense during our way back to the apartment, and wouldn't stop even after we had arrived.
ちょっと頼りないし変人っぽいけど、なんか愛を感じるじゃない？私結構羨ましいな。
Kasumi envying others, and even calling someone a father? You didn't hear that every day. She lost her own father. Oh. Sorry. As for me, I didn't have parents. So we kind of had this unspoken agreement not to bring the topic up. Oh, and speaking of the very static screen, whenever that red text came up, that was actually Setsuna's mind. Okay, so I'll make adjustments on that.
レイはどう思う？
I found myself at a loss for words.
いいんじゃないか？仲良さそうで。
だよね。
It felt a bit odd seeing Kasumi smile as if she was talking about herself. Or maybe I was the jerk for being this perplexed by it. Despite having no blood relation whatsoever, Himuro, Sister Lisa, and Father Tarifa seemed like a genuine family, which was a wonderful thing, all things considered. No wonder Kasumi admired them. I was the weird one here.
何？どうかした？
No, not at all. After reassuring her that I was just fine, I began to change my mind. This definitely didn't come up all that often, but if Kasumi wanted to discuss the topic, there was really no reason for me to object. After all, just like I told Father Tarifa, I didn't feel a thing for my parents.
で、お前はホームシックにでもかかったのか？
ちょっとね。レイはどう？うちのお母さんに会いたい？
Is that okay?
あの人、俺を女装させようとするから苦手だ。
What?
そういや、そうだったね。
Why? Yeah. I had no parents, no relatives either. I was taken in by a friend of my dad, Kasumi's father, and so I'd been freeloading off the Ayase family ever since. In that sense, Kasumi and I were more like a brother and his older sister than childhood friends. She insisted it was the other way around, but after some serious consideration, I concluded I didn't need an older sister like that. Besides, my birthday came before hers, so I win. As for financial troubles, I'd been told that I had nothing to worry about thanks to my family's inheritance. With the exception of the minimum amount of for living expenses, I could more or less use it as I saw fit. I was grateful to her family. Kasumi included, of course.
でねでね、私らが小さい時、一度お父さんがレンを正式な養子にしようとしたことがあるんだって。
Really?
でもそれ、お母さんが大反対して、結局お流れになっちゃったらしいんだ。
To be
なん
part...
でと思う？
I don't know, to be part of the family?
いや、なんだよ。
Smiling, Kasumi drew her face closer to mine. Contrary to what I was expecting her to say, though...
そんなことしたら、かすみとレンが結婚できなくなっちゃうでしょ。
Boom. She dropped that bomb so hard I could almost literally hear it. Wait.
確か三親等以内の血族じゃない限り養子だろうがなんだろうが OK じゃなかったか？
What?
そうなの？詳しいんだね、レン。調べたの？
Is that seriously a thing? What was with that ungodly, wicked smile?
どうしてレンはそんなに詳しかったりするのかな？
You done goofed, Ren.
常識の範疇。
Oh, okay, maybe not to me.
本当に？私とお母さんは知らなかったよ。ねえ、なんでかな？
None of your business.
そういう漫画とか結構あるだろ？
レン、あんまり漫画読まないじゃん。
Dude, she's got you. She's freaking got you, dude. Kasumi began to sidle up to me like a slug. It was more off-putting than scary, honestly.
私たち、実は言い名付けだったのよ。
When was this established? Oh wait, I'm starting her route, of course.
ねえ。ねえねえ。
Nope. I gave her a karate chop on instinct.
いきなり何してくれんのよ。
不気味な動きで近寄ってこないでくれ、知女。
Shivi? Oh, wait. Is that just a combination of the word she and deviant?
知女？
Sheviant, a woman who sexually harasses a man. Okay, we literally just got ourselves a definition for this.
知女。地上の愛と平和を守るため。
Huh?
お前頭大丈夫か？
That's what I've been asking throughout this whole experience so far.
ああ、うさい。おでこ触るな。熱なんかない。っていうかあれでしょ。あんた照れてるからいつもそんなことばっか言うんでしょ。ガキ。
ロボトミー手術を受けてくれ、バカスミ。
What?
ちょっと、それ子供の時に禁句してしたあだ名じゃない。このレンタン。
Twitsumi and Renpen.
レンタン。
萌えキャラみたいに呼ぶな。
レンタンはどうしてそんなに素直じゃないかな？
君はどうしてそんなにおまぬけなんだ？
Oh my god, you're already bickering like a married couple.
何？
One stupid exchange after another, pointless conversation after pointless conversation, a worthless daily existence, cheap like garbage. A series of ever-unchanging mundane events, the kind you've had a hard time even remembering the next day. Why did I never reflect upon that day, that instant, more deeply? I was careless. I didn't take it seriously. I thought that I understood. That nothing lasted forever. That something being finite meant that its end could come at any time. That irreplaceably precious garbage of a daily life like Ren Fuji wished to protect to the point of parting ways with his best friend came to an end that night. Oh! Okay, it gets real. Ah, God! Okay. I'm thinking some people got a little annoyed with my Igor voice, so I'll probably just do something different here. Now then, let the curtains rise on tonight's grand Guinel. At first, I couldn't understand what was going on.
Huh?
What happened to me? I was in my room just a few moments ago. So why was I suddenly all alone in a place like this? I glanced around my surroundings, the chaos in my mind never once subsiding. I was outside, no question about that. Was this some kind of prank? I didn't get so drunk that my memories blanked out, did I? That couldn't have been the case.
どういうことだ?
How did this happen? I didn't know. It wasn't that difficult to recall everything that had happened up until this point. I left the church, went home, took a bath, and went to bed. I might have had a chat with Kasumi too, but it probably wasn't anything important knowing her. Nothing that would help me here at any rate. The last thing I remembered was going to bed. That was the important bit. It meant that this was all a dream, not reality. A dream? But even if I assumed that to be true, there was still something I couldn't quite explain. Why wasn't this that dream? Over the past few days, I've been having the exact same dream of that twilight shore, that nightmare at the guillotine. True, if I never had that dream ever again, I could count myself lucky. But the sudden change still left me feeling like something was off. The moon loomed high above, showering me with frozen blue light. I was alone, like a dancer in the spotlight. This was strange. This was strange. Something felt off. Though I was conscious, I couldn't perceive anything. It was a vague, floating feeling, like I was nothing more than an eyeball. That could be attributed to the nature of dreams, though. I couldn't control myself properly, although I could detect a dull pain hammering away at my brain. I still felt out of it to the point of wanting to throw up. I would have been hard-pressed to call it a very comfortable feeling. In other words, this really was yet another dream. The details of it might have changed, but it remained just as unpleasant as before. I began to stagger as I felt a sense of intoxication wash over me. Actually, perhaps it would be better to say I was already walking. I certainly wasn't doing it consciously, and the sensation of my feet pressing against the earth felt incredibly vague. All I had left was my vision, and this faint, dull headache. And was this a heartbeat? It sounded like it was coming from far off, but I could definitely hear someone's heartbeat. It wasn't for mine. It wasn't mine. For some reason, that was all I knew. As well as the fact that it was slowly yet steadily getting closer. A sharp burning pain flared up in my neck. The word pain didn't even begin to describe it. It felt like I was being strangled by a string of molten hot barbed wire. As the pain grew more intense, so did the heartbeat draw closer and closer. A never-ceasing sound, the sensation of another heartbeat in the back of my head. What the hell was this? I was getting strangled. I couldn't breathe. The pain was only growing more and more intense. Succumbing to strangulation was all too easy. I could feel that thing biting into the flesh of my neck. It was trying to twist my neck. It was all too incomprehensible. What did I do to deserve this? Could it be I was about to become the 8th victim? The abrupt pain, akin to having my very bones scraped off, made me let out a violent howl of agony. Ugh. I wasn't bleeding, but I could tell that my neck and torso were held together by nothing but one last bone. Creak, creak. I heard my bones being whittled down, little by little. The other heartbeat in my skull, I could feel it being activated. I found myself assailed by a feeling of discomfort unlike any I'd ever experienced before. Almost like I was a second skin being shed by another creature while I still lived. What? Ever so brief whisper echoed in my ear. I couldn't make out what it was saying. Not a word. I had already passed my threshold of pain and was being driven into a situation where all I wanted to do was writhe on the ground. I was in no condition to properly make out some ever-audible noise of a voice. As the creaking in my neck grew even more intense, my vision was abruptly cut off with the grace of a sudden blackout. A sound echoed across the darkness I found myself freshly enveloped by. Hurry. 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 The sound drilling into my skull began to merge with the noise, gradually transforming into something I could make out as human speech. A familiar requiem I'd heard somewhere before. Oh! The girl again. Dies Irae. Dies illa solvet cyclim in favilla. Tes David cum Sibilla. By the way, I deeply apologize for my terrible my butchering of the pronunciation of these words. Quantas tremor es veturas, quanda jude est venturas, punctus tri discuros. Tuba miram spagin sonum, per supelcra regiunium, coge omne ante thronum. Mor stupabit ita natura, cum resurge cricira, judicante responsura. Liber scriptas preforetur, in quo totem contentia, unda mundas judister. I probably mispronounced every single one of those. Oh my god, we are still going. Judex ergo cum sabadit, quid latit aperabit, nil inultum remanabit. Quid sum miseratum dicturas, cum patrum rogaturas, cum vi justa sis securas. Rex tremande majestatis, qui salvando salvas grati, salva mi fons pertitas, tatis. Recorder gisse porque quid sum quesa tia viet nemo perdes illadi. Concept this secret Krabby Patty formula. Tentos labernum utset udex gundir deus ex machina cave alteva have Maria. I could not read any of that. Oh, thank God. My skull was split, my head severed. The string of unintelligible words that poured forth from the narrator within jolted through my mind, robbing it of sanity. To oppose the raging stream of my pain, I let go of the hand known as the axis of reason, desperately clinging to me. And thus my head was severed. The world had turned up inside out. Whoa! And now suddenly we're dancing in the velvet moon. There was no pain, no nausea. That feeling of intoxication began to fade as all of my senses, sight and hearing included, were completely restored. Whoa! As everything from the neck up had been replaced, it would only be natural for the previous head's discomfort to vanish as well. A myriad sensations, all strained, sharpened to the limit, and although there was a distant sense of aloofness and ambiguity in its operation, the head had the body under control. Its movements remained stiff, a sway of the ego, perhaps, yet Ren Fuji's influence is already but an insignificant speck of dust, hardly even worth viewing as a problem. It would soon grow accustomed to it. It knew him better than anyone, guaranteeing all utmost affinity. The two of them were as caduceus, 2 in 1, two sides of the same coin, yin and yang. Ah, how truly romantic. What would man call this, if not the red string of fate itself? The head began to cackle, its body staggering onwards with the unsteady step of a sleepwalker. Where to? That hardly needed to be said. To its prey. The hunter cared not who ended up slaughtered. It could have even been a cat or a dog for all it cared. So long as the prey had blood, life, and was worthy to be cut down, the hunter did not discriminate. All it needed was a victim large enough to fit for a massacre to help satisfy these welling, destructive urges. Had there been a zoo nearby, An elephant or a giraffe would have likely sufficed. However, that was not the case. As such, it needed to hunt for something else. Something that hardly needed to be explained, indeed. Human.
すみません。
A voice came pouring out.
よければ公園の外までご一緒させてもらえませんか?
Ugh. Startled, a woman in her mid-20s turned around. Her gaudy makeup and suit left quite the impression, pointing towards a career in perhaps the nighttime entertainment business. The head continued to speak.
友達とはぐれちゃって電話したら入り口で待ってるから早く来いって言われました。薄情な奴らですよね。
It produced a smile, all to calm itself, to coax, to persuade its preferred target.
ダメですか?
In times like this, presenting a soft, kind, and gentle expression worked as the most effective cover. The woman made a troubled smile but ultimately agreed to the head's request, despite voicing a grumble or two. Her voice rang with a hint of relief. She was probably frightened. What an idiot. Just as the head formulated that thought, not even the assailant themselves could tell or remember which direction it came from. All they saw was the lightning-fast swoop of the blade. Its afterimage burned into their eyes. The woman was decapitated, her head sent flying into the air. It didn't end there. Her torso was sliced into 5 pieces before the head even hit the ground. She displayed not a shred of resistance. The act seemed a magic trick of sorts, but one that could never be undone. The woman's body split into pieces, her various parts scattering like falling Jenga blocks. The freshly severed head fell on the still spinning hand with a thump. The same, a somewhat stiff smile eternally frozen on its lips. It then bounced into the air one more time, before being sliced in two, right down the middle. The woman's face split open, scattering blood and brain as it burst like cheap fireworks. Why am I enjoying this? A fierce cackle reverberated in the area, piercing the very heavens. Oh dear God, that sounded really creepy. Its spine creaked, perhaps due to joy, dread, or a mix of both. The creeping sensation of a myriad crawling worms shook its jaw, never once stopping. The hunter's fits of laughter failed to cease, a multitude of thoughts diffusing throughout its head. A feeling akin to the taste of cheap drugs, a gut-wrenching wave of chaotic, psychedelic tension, wonderful beyond description. It felt so good, everything from the head up switched on its own. Whoosh! 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 The world flashed like a strobe light at the neck-breakingly fast switch. To get a clear idea of what that felt like, wanted to simply take a roller coaster, a free fall, and whatever they call that spinning coffee cup ride thing, and put them all together. Give me a second. Huh. That's a hell of an experience. The thrill of murder, the joy of robbing one of life, the intoxication of absolute carnage seeping into the very core of the hunter's being. The lamps and garbage cans within 10 meters had split apart, much like the woman. Met with its own sheer over-enthusiasm, the hunter laughed. As such, it wanted, it yearned to play a wild lion. Alas, you mustn't. Oh wait, it would appear that they have caught wind of this. The world shut down with a click. Not unlike death. Like that woman from a moment before whose very existence was denied and expunged. Like that dream of being beheaded by a guillotine. That exact same sensation. Ah. So this was yet another dream. Sleep, do not awaken. You must not... Wait. Wake up. Line, 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 line. Static! Now then, the beasts approach. Retreat or advance. Make your choice. Is it going to be an actual choice? That's the real question. It probably isn't. And so after God knows how much time, I finally came to my senses, only to find myself gazing up at the moon. The round, perfectly circular shape of the moon, like a hole bored into the sky. The cold night air sent a shiver down my spine, feeling almost like it came pouring out from that very hole. Where was I? And what was I doing here all by myself? I didn't really know, nor did I remember anything. For that matter, all I recalled was falling on my ass and spacing out like some idiot. Right, I had a dream. I couldn't recall all the details, but I knew it was quite the unpleasant, ominous, and terrifying, or perhaps enjoyable dream. At least, that was what it felt like. Why had I been staring at the moon this whole time without budging my eyes or my body? How odd of me to fixate on that. It wasn't like I really wanted to look at the moon, but it seemed to attract me precisely because I didn't want to see that. The moon was simply a convenient distraction. Almost as if I was unconsciously clinging to it, trying to escape my surroundings. Why was something like that here? I didn't want to think about why this wet, sticky liquid on the ground was there. I finally looked down.
Huh?
My gaze fell upon a sea of blood, as well as chunks of meat and excrement that seemed like they were chucked out of a bucket. Remains of a human body lay scattered as far as the eye could see, mutilated beyond recognition. Arms severed at the elbow, legs still standing up from the shins down. Torso cut into round slices with its intestines spilling out like spaghetti. And just as I'd feared, the body itself had nothing from the neck up. A woman's head, cleaved vertically, floated in the middle of that puddle of blood, facing the ground, eyes fixed on me in a glare. White bone, pink entrails, yellow fat, red muscles, grained brain, dull eyes, light brown hair. The putrid stench of blood and death lingering about those grisly remains, even emitted steam in the cold night air, violated my nasal cavities with merciless intensity. What was all this doing here? I felt like a complete fucking idiot for only thinking about this now. I could remember, though only partially, what this body used to look like, the kind of face it made, as well as how she was killed. I vomited with enough force to make me feel like my innards are being turned inside out. The smell of vomit mixed in with the stench of blood. My stomach cramped under the wintry moonlight, no doubt a result of the blood that looked nearly like a veil of crimson mist. This wasn't a dream. This wasn't a dream. This wasn't a dream. This wasn't a dream. This cold, this head, this stench, these images, they were all... Well, I'm not entirely sure it was you. It might have been the woman that was laughing maniacally.
違うのかよ。
Well, hell. I felt completely shocked. More by the action I took, rather than the abrupt voice that prompted me to do it. Just how many meters did I jump back despite being on all fours? Hello there! A man I'd never seen before greeted me with a jovial smile. If he was standing where I'd been until a moment ago, it meant that I must have jumped back about 10 meters back.
いい反応してるな、ガキ。
Howdy. The man spoke up in a calm voice, paying no heed to the mutilated corpse by his feet. He clearly harbored not a shred of respect for the dead, casually trampling on the woman's sliced face like it was no more than an empty can. Seeing that, a difficult-to-describe chill rushed through my entire body. The beast's approach. Didn't someone say that moments before I gained the consciousness? This was bad. Really bad. Nerve cells all throughout my body began to sound their equivalent of an emergency siren. blowing clean away all trivial bafflements that came with seeing a dead body, killing someone, or wondering what I was even doing here in the first place. Before me towered a colossal threat. It would have been simple to identify it as a beast of prey. No, a better way to describe it would be an otherworldly kind of pressure, the dread of some mysterious, inhuman abomination. Such an abruptly materialized source of pure wickedness evicted all potential thoughts from my mind. This guy was not normal. He was not human.
よう、なんか言えよガキ。こっちは気使って猿用の言葉で話してやってるんだぜ。
Thank you. Also, I deeply apologize for wasting your time. I'm probably gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to go home. Do you want a smoothie? I can get you a smoothie.
口聞けねえってわけでもねえだろうが。
I mean, what if I am? I mean, there's a possibility I might be mute. You never know. I mean, would that change anything really if I wasn't mute? The man took a step towards me. The emergency alarm in my mind proceeded to kick it up a notch. It was a hunch similar to base instinct. He was telling me to run. Otherwise, I would be devoured. My body moved unconsciously. I jumped back just as fast as I did earlier. No, even faster than that, with the intention of getting out of here right away. However... Oh! Hello! That attempt was blocked by a woman standing behind me. Okay, this was getting ridiculous. I poured all I had into fleeing this vicious sink or swim situation. Even if there were no obstacles, I had enough force to mow down pretty much anything in my path. So why? Gonna go get a smoothie? Do you want one? Why couldn't I break through this fragile-looking woman? How the hell was she holding me down with arms that should have honestly broken like a frail twig the moment I hit her? All she did was place her hand lightly upon my chest, yet that alone rendered me completely paralyzed. I felt an unbelievably heavy pressure. Almost like there were over 100 people packed beneath her skin. Huh? Smirking, the pale man shifted his gaze to look at me, his scoff ridiculing my pointless attempt at trying to escape him. A hopelessly terrifying sense of sheer inhumanity, abnormality to the point of being laughable. These two were just like that. Apparently they're not the smoothie kind of people. They killed people without any display of humanity, devouring others to escalate themselves to a position transcending mankind.
Zarathustra だったか? メルクリウスの代わりにしちゃえらく役者不足に見えるわよ。
Oh wait, am I Zarathustra? Wait, from Mercurius' substitute. Am I in some way related to Mercurius?
どうするマレウス。遊んでみるか？
そうね。鉄は熱いうちに、なんだっけ、この国のことわざだったような気がするけど。
You strike while the iron's hot? My thoughts were reduced to a jumble just by having them near me. I felt like I could pass out any second now. I could smell an unnaturally dense mixture of blood, death, and decay. I was this close to losing it. Simply being in the center of their attention was going to crush me if this kept going. Your favorite smoothie kinds. I need to shut up now. Anyway, I had to do something. Even if my body was paralyzed, I needed to at least speak up so I could free myself from their grip. And what you... Mercurius' substitute. Thank you?
普通の人間なら気絶するくらいのことはしてるつもりなんだけどな。意識があるだけじゃなくて口も聞けるか。これはいよいよたまんないね。私ゾクゾクしてきちゃうよ。
Okay. Leaving my chest, the woman's fingers slid up to my neck.
あれ、あなたがやったのかな?
She referred to the mutilated corpse of the woman lying scattered on the pavement, asking me if I was responsible.
雑で荒いし綺麗じゃないよね。少なくとも私の知ってるあいつの趣味じゃないようだけど。
I'm pretty sure I didn't do it.
メルクリウスの生物が何だったのか、私たちの誰一人として知らないのよ。だからあれだけじゃ特定できない。あなた
もしそうなら野郎の生物もこれと似たようなもんなのか。
Ananirbe. What the hell were these guys talking about? It all sounded like gibberish to me. Besides,
知らない。俺は。
did I really kill someone here? There was a body right in front of me. I retained memories of the moment of her death. But was that really me? I was neither trying to flee from reality nor attempting to shift the blame. Rather, I just...
思えない。殺しなんか。
I saw it. I did. But I couldn't say for certain I was the one who did it. When I gave that answer... Maniacal laughter poured out of the two like water from a broken faucet, their sneers like a lump of malice. An aggregation of discord that threatened to drive one mad, to destroy one's sanity just by listening. Its sheer wretchedness made me sick. Theirs was no laugh of any ordinary man. That much I could attest to with certainty.
そうかそうか。お前違うか。そうだよな。あ、そうだろうとも。面白い。
The man walked right up to me, his shoulder still trembling from laughter. His eyes betrayed no sense of laughter, though. I got goosebumps all over.
めんどくせえな。体に効くかよ。
Oh, no? How's that for an answer? Oh, God! His simple kick to the stomach sent me flying like a piece of cardboard. What the hell? That seemingly light kick nearly killed me. I must have broken half of my ribs.
よう。それでもう一度聞くんだけどよ。
He stomped on my left shoulder right as I attempted to sit up, causing my joints to break with a creaking sound. Ugh!
生物はなんだ。てめえはどこでメルクリウスのクソとつながってる。
My vision flickered from the pain. I couldn't even scream. By contrast, the man's voice remained endlessly frivolous.
おいおい頼むぜ。サクサク行こうや。 実際拷問は得意じゃねえんだ。俺が相手してるうちに吐かねえと、お前あっちのバカ女に本格的なの食らわされっつ。
Yeah, you're not doing the best job torturing me. You're just kind of killing me a little bit more. You might need to go take a little bit more practice.
ちょっと失礼ね。バカって何よ。いいわよ。じゃあ手伝ってあげないんだから。あなたもたまには繊細な仕事をしてみるのね。 頭さえ残ってれば最悪なんとかなるんだしさ。
だそうだぜ。
It broke. Or perhaps it was dislocated. I couldn't move my left arm from the shoulder down. Oh God, that just like chills down my own arm. Ugh. I grabbed the man's ankle with my right hand out of pure reflex. I attempted pouring as much strength into my grip as possible, but he wasn't budging an inch.
おい、触んじゃねえよ。気色悪い。
I'm not touching you. Seriously? The man lifted me up into the air using only his leg, then connected it into a spin kick without missing a beat. Fuck. It was enough to send me flying 7 or 8 meters, dear God, to the fence overlooking the water. This was no laughing matter. He's seriously going to kill me if this kept up. I had to do something to get away.
だったら海にでも飛び込むか。
Well, considering you kind of fucked up my arm, I'm not entirely sure I can actually swim, good sir.
そのざまじゃ溺れちまうだけだろうが。まあ何でも試してみるのはいいことだ。
His tone mocked me, like he just read my mind. He was right, though. That wouldn't do me any good. What else was I to...
あんまりしらける反応するんじゃねえよ。役者こいてんなら大したもんだが、気の長い性分でもないんでな。もったいぶられるとどうでもよくなる。最後だ。て
I don't even know what that is! The man's kick crashed into the iron fence beside me, bending its bars in the process. I remained silent, but what else was I gonna do? How was I supposed to reply when I had no answer to give him? Was I going to die here, crushed without rhyme or reason in a situation beyond my comprehension? I didn't want that. No way I was going to accept an outcome like that. I felt it meaningless to explain and justify myself to an opponent I couldn't reason with. Likewise, I couldn't just run away from him either. What was I to do? Words and running wouldn't do me any good. So what other methods would help me break through the deadlock of this irrational, unreasonable situation? Well... A color of boredom seeped into the man's tone as he threw a fierce punch my way, almost as if to say that he was done playing torturer. His bloodlust was near palpable. I felt death itself approaching. I could instinctively tell that I would die the moment that fist crashed into me. I no longer had any other choice. I saw a body earlier. Maybe I was the one who killed her, or maybe I wasn't. Regardless of the truth, that horrific image had been permanently burned into my retina, refusing to leave. As such, I had but one thing on my mind, that I did not wish to end up that way. A selfish, greedy, and wretched attachment to life. That alone steeled my conviction, made it fiercer than anything else. Like hell I'd be killed. Like hell I'd be broken here. I had to move, dodge, struggle. If I wanted to live, if I wished to avoid death, I had but one thing to do. Because I was not supposed to die in a place like this, to begin with. Found it in yourself to act. In that case, allow me to give you some advice. Out of all the current fangs, that man, Bay, is amongst the fiercest. Struggle all you wish, but mortal skill alone shan't defeat him. The man's arm pierced a bench, the iron fence, and even part of the pavement. Drawing it back, he flashed a smile. After rolling away from him to gain some distance, I rose back onto my feet. How shall you proceed, Zarathustra? Shall you acquire my Iwagkite and test its prowess on him? Should you retreat or advance? I implore you to bless me with the light of the unforeseen. I felt my head pounding, making me think I was about ready to faint at any moment. My semicircular canals rang from the shock like an explosion that happened right next to me, knocking off my sense of balance. But the force of that punch, as well as the ones before, were no laughing matter, yet they weren't fast enough to make dodging them completely impossible. So long as I kept myself from freezing in terror, I could manage. Now that things had come to this, that was all I could do. The ivory man of white hair faced me again, with a smirk decorating his lips. He would likely kill me in an instant if I had tried to make a run for it, which meant that my best chance here was to try and create an opening. I was hurting all over, but this still paled in comparison to my fight with Shiro. It was hardly impossible. I had to fight, and successfully break through. It was the only way. Very well. Then act according to your heart's desire. Should you deem it necessary to determine the difference between your strengths.
なあマレウス、こいつ殺すぞ。文句はねえな。
ダメって言っても聞かないんでしょ。いいわよ別に。あなた昔からそんなだしね。たださっきも言ったけど。
頭は残せか。まあ前処してみろ。
Well, to be fair, I'm going to need my head. The man approached me with a faint smirk. If you really planned to pick a fight, then victory would go to the one who struck first.
ちょっと待ちなさいよ。どうせやるなら、もう少しやる気が出るようにしてあげるわ。
The woman interrupted before I could make my first move, and her words caused my thoughts of taking the initiative to fly right out the window.
今夜、ついさっきまで教会にいたんだよね。
What?
だよ、そうだっけか？
そうよ。だったら手っ取り早いじゃない。
Wait. What were they saying?
逃げるとかごまかそうとか、そういう気が起きないようにしてあげるから、もっと死に物狂いで頑張ろうよ。
Oh god, you're not gonna try to grab a hostage, are you?
あなた自分が痛いのには鈍そうな感じだし、こういう状況の方が気つくんじゃない？
ああ、なるほど。
In my mind, I begged them to stop smiling like that. The way they smiled. Even an idiot could figure out their true intentions. I couldn't help but feel bothered by the way she mentioned my presence at the church, almost like she'd heard about it from someone, as opposed to directly seeing it herself, but those worries soon became meaningless. I turned pale in an instant. Fear and uneasiness simultaneously sent shivers down my spine. I went there with Kasumi. Went to see Himuro. I talked to them. It was fun. Good remembering. I can still recall it quite well. So... oh, dared. These otherworldly fucks talk about it like it happened on the same planet.
もし逃げたら
That smirking woman's voice was grating to the ears. I had to silence it, no matter what it took. I couldn't allow her to say the rest.
あなたの友達皆殺しにしちゃうからね。
The moment she said that, I rushed forward before I could even think. My sense of balance still felt off, to the point where I didn't think I could run straight. Despite that, I launched the equivalent of a suicide attack. I was scared. Scared beyond words. The thought of what they'd do if I let them go was nigh unbearable. So I dashed towards them, emptying my mind. I let out no roar, no shout, not even a weep. All I did was charge mechanically forward. That was...
まあ待てよ。どうしたおい。急に勇ましくなったじゃねえか。つっても女相手に切れる男ってのはいただけねえな。度量が知れるぜ。
well, to be fair, you are threatening my friends, and I'm not entirely sure I can let you get away with that. My suicide charge had been halted with little to no effort. He grabbed me by the neck, preventing me from moving forward. I could tell that he needed to squeeze, but a little harder to snap it. But I couldn't back down. A chill, somewhat different from what I'd experienced earlier, rushed up my spine. I gritted my teeth and clenched my fists. My whole body was trembling. This was rage. Fear of the horrible things these psychos would do if I didn't stop them here.
逃げ打とうって気がなくなったんなら追加で俺からも葉っぱくれてやろうじゃねえか。もう質疑応答は終了だ。こっから先は口以外で語り合おうぜ。
Power.
心配すんなよ。手加減してやる。武器は出さねえし片手だけでやってやっから。お前は銃でもナイフでも念力でも呪いでも何でもいいから使ってみろや。お前が実際何者だろうと要は遊べるかどうかだしよ。暇してたんだ長いこと。待つってのはつれえよな。もうしけた祭りじゃ満足できねえ。だからよこれ最後のチャンスだ。
You okay there, pal? I say the voice actor sounds like he's having fun.
俺にここまで譲歩させてなえる落ち着きやがったらお前。
He drew me close to him, uttering the following like it was nothing.
この街地図から消しちまうぞ。
I felt dizziness taking its hold on me. My throat turned so raspy I had trouble properly breathing. I had no idea why all this was happening, or why these insane bastards were here. There was one thing I did know. This guy was serious. If I made a single mistake in how I acted here, he'd likely make good on his word. And he could probably pull it off, too. He would thoroughly, undoubtedly, mercilessly, unsparingly, and heartlessly pulverize, reap, kill, and destroy every single thing here, laughing merrily all the while. The mundane, everyday life I held so dear was being rapidly painted over by the unknown. I was sure of it. So, I had to fight.
Huh?
I was not interested in anything that fell outside the boundaries of the known. I had to fight now. Therefore, I had nothing to hesitate over. After crashing my fist into the man's face, I used the recoil to leap backwards. As a result of forcefully prying myself free from his grip, my neck skin was torn. My arteries seemed to be intact, but all the bleeding left me concerned. On top of that, my fist hurt like absolute hell. That punch shattered the bones in my right hand to bits. It was like I was punching a block of stone. But...
なんだ今のは。やる気あんのかお前。
Not only was he not blown back, he hadn't even budged at all from where he stood. The unnatural density of his existence hadn't even wavered in the slightest from my attack. But that was exactly why I couldn't leave a man like him to his own devices. I could never allow this scumbag to lay a hand on Kasumi and Himuro.
レイ、分かってると思うけど。
ああ、突っ込んでろマレウス。ご指名は俺だ。
The man blew off his companion with what sounded like a sarcastic chortle, almost like he was toying around with small fry. His face remained completely free from bruises, even though I hit him hard enough to shatter my own fist. This guy was clearly a monster. His power far eclipsed mine, and I wouldn't even have a snowball's chance in hell to defeat him in a straight-up fight. In fact, I began to question if all of this constituted a fight to begin with. Even so... I put my dislocated left shoulder back in place and gave my shattered right fist a forceful twist to fix it. I then thrust a nearby piece of wood into my sleepy leg to wake it up. I wouldn't retreat. I'd grown fond of the world around me. That included this entire city. The one with Kasumi, Himuro, Sister Lisa, Father Trifa, and all those guys at school whose name I didn't know. I'd do whatever it took to preserve it. I didn't need stuff I wasn't familiar with. I wanted nothing to do with the unforeseen and the unpredictable. Unlike Shiro, I hadn't the slightest interest in trying all the options. I didn't mind if my life ended up as a boring straight line, which meant that these freaks were in the way. How dare these scumbags invade my story? They need to get the hell back to their own genre!
In other words, a life ruled by foreknowledge. Such is your...
What was that? Thought resembling static jolted through my head for a moment, but I needed to keep it out of my mind. I had to focus on what was right in front of me. Also, your neck looks pretty fine right now. Luckily, the woman decided not to interfere. I could only hope she would stay at the sidelines, as turning this confrontation into a 2-on-1 fight was pretty much the last thing I wanted. As for the rest, I had to do whatever it took to get the better of this man. Even if I couldn't beat him head on, there had to be another way. We were both fighting hand to hand, no weapons, but the scale of violence he wielded outclassed mine to the extent it made me want to laugh. In that sense, that last punch was a failure. With my right fist shattered, screwing up was no longer an option. Allowing my emotions to guide my decisions could very well prove to be fatal. I needed to calm down. This wasn't my first life or death brawl anyway. To panic, I had to carefully probe his weaknesses, then crush them. Like his eyes or his joints, though he may have been a monster, as long as he resembled a human in appearance, he had to have vitals. Even if worst came to worst and all my attempts failed, I still needed to keep Kasumi and Himuro safe. I mean, realistically, the worst thing that could possibly happen is you fire a bullet straight at his eye and then it collapses like a Superman bullet. Oh shit. I hope that's not the case. I need to pull myself together. I had things I held dear to the point of fighting Shiro over them. What exactly did I expect to protect if I ended up getting crushed by these assholes?
準備は済んだか?
The ivory demon cracked his knuckles as he leveled his gaze with mine. His glare made me dizzy, but this wasn't the time to be intimidated.
清掃13騎士団黒煙卓第4位ビルヘルム・エーレンブルグカズイクル・ベイだ名乗れよガキ戦の作法も知らねえかあいにくと知らないな
I didn't feel like revealing a single piece of information pertaining to my identity.
名前が知りたけ吐かしてみろよ白髪野郎
Damn!
面白い
Oh! The man cut through the air as he approached me, letting out a beast-like roar in the process. He lunged his right palm, rather, his claw forward. I twisted my body with enough force to wrench my torso off, evading the attack. The slightest graze of his attack was enough to completely tear my clothes at the chest level. Not only that, the lamp behind me was also crushed and snapped in two. His prowess was inhuman. No other way to put it. If I'd taken that thing head on, he probably would have knocked away my innards with one strike. Probably. The man howled with laughter. If he wanted to pulverize me, he could have easily done it, yet he was deliberately avoiding just that, instead enjoying watching me jump back as I put some distance between us. Whether he was underestimating me or just messing around, it proved to be quite convenient. I had to find an opening before he got serious.
これは驚きだ。
Dear God.
さっきに続いて2度連続かよ。ど素人にかわされるほど手抜いたつもりもねえんだけどな。俺がひよったのかお前がやるのか。
Maybe.
見たとこ鍛えてるって柄じゃねえが。なるほど。いやいや本当にあのクソ野郎やってくれるぜ。おい。次はもう少し早く行くがよ。
Well, at least you're polite enough to tell me.
てめえ、簡単に死ぬんじゃねえぞ。
I make no promises. Wilhelm slowly assumed an oddly relaxed pose as the words left his lips. None of his movements were elegant enough to be called martial arts. His strikes were just absurdly fast and unnaturally heavy-hitting. He moved as a pure, undulated tornado of raw violence, against which techniques learned through effort held no meaning whatsoever. No practice, no training. Even if you killed 100 imaginary enemies, they were still imaginary at the end of the day. Actual combat experience meant everything. Brute force was a display of arrogance particular to those who had been strong from the get-go, as if to say that improvement through dedication remained the privilege of the weak. I knew guys like that very well. This wasn't the first time I'd scuffled with that sort. Dodging was a death wish waiting to happen. I got a punch that barely missed gouging out my sternum and heart under my armpit and locked it up. I then used the force of his charge against him and leaned back far enough to break his arm. My speed and timing were perfect. I launched a superb counter, the kind I probably would never be able to replicate. It was to be a miraculous turnabout. A complete upset I poured my heart and soul into, however.
で
Get broken. His arm hadn't yielded an inch. Our physiques might have been similar, yet the bastard remained completely unaffected. Possible. How did he do that?
取らせてやってこの程度かよ。こりゃ見込み違いだったかな。
I shifted my force right into performing an overhead throw, kicking him right in the crotch. If I failed with his joints, I'd crush him at his most vulnerable spot instead. Not even our differences in physical strength would matter with his attack. Hey buddy, plot twist. I got that removed years ago. Instead, my left leg was crushed with a crunching sound, sending a wave of chills up my spine. He's got balls of steel! No way. This had to be seriously impossible. What the hell was this guy's body made of?
どうしたおい。それで終わりか。根性見せろや。
He then immediately followed up with an uppercut that felt like it was about to mow down my whole face. It was powerful enough to blow me away, but it didn't kill me. I felt intense nausea welling up from the impact, rattling my brain. It hurt like hell. God damn it! Guarding that ended up breaking both my arms. Vomiting blood, I collapsed onto the pavement, trying to confirm the damage my body had sustained. Both hands, one leg, and my broken ribs had injured my internal organs. Fucking great! It felt almost like a repeat of what happened 2 months ago. I'd just gotten out of the hospital, only to get beaten half to death again! But all these similarities meant that I'd experienced these kinds of injuries and pain before. Dude! I can still stand. I could do this. I was not scared. Wilhelm regarded me with a sneer as I continued to writhe on the ground. Naturally, he had remained completely unscathed. He exuded a demonic aura resembling a heat haze, his eyes gleaming with the thrill of a predator closing in on its prey. He would soon ask. True to his word, he only used one hand for his attacks. Despite that, it remained inhumanly fast. And each one of them held lethal power. Defense was not an option. His strikes are merciless whirlwinds of death that tore up my skin and sent my blood spraying out after a mere graze. Couldn't keep dodging them forever. His one-handed multi-attack angle attacks, a demonstration of his enormous superhuman power, seemed to ignore the very laws of physics. they were gradually getting faster. They sped up with each one I dodged, seemingly testing my limits. I could no longer follow their trajectory with my eyes. As such, intuition remained the only thing I could rely on, the kind of instinct that manifested itself upon the precipice between life and death. But in the end, that too became weaker and weaker. Suddenly, Wilhelm's arm stretched up to unbelievable lengths. It was several times faster than the fixed, accelerated tempo of punches he'd been giving up until now. By up until, sorry. It was only by pure luck that I managed to avoid a direct hit. My broken right leg couldn't support its own weight, causing me to fall. As a result, I cheated death. Looked like Lady Luck hadn't forsaken me just yet. However, the pain I felt when moving with my ribs broken was intense enough to threaten knocking me out. At this rate, they might end up puncturing my lungs in the process. That might be a problem. The biggest problem I faced, however, was Wilhelm, smirking as he waited for me to stand up. I couldn't find a way to deal with him. That speed of his seemed like it was beginning to surpass the limits of human kinetic vision and reflexes. It was probably only just getting started, too. At this rate, I could probably only hope for another 1 or 2 miraculous dodges. On top of that, none of my attacks had any effect on him. At the very least, I'd been made keenly aware that physical blows would do no good against him. Then, leaning against a nearby tree, I rose back to my feet. With my limbs broken, I'd need to secure a new weapon. I'd resolved myself. Wilhelm's bloodlust exploded. He must have predicted what I was about to do. Yeah, he intended to kill me. As much, I couldn't fight him unless I was resolved to do the same to him. I used the tree as a shield in order to block a hit from the bastard that would have otherwise blown my head clean off. Taking the brunt of his blow, the tree splintered into several pieces with a crunch. Wilhelm displayed incredible destructive power for sure, but I was counting on exactly that. I instantly picked something suitable as a weapon out of the numerous splinters soaring through the air. In short, I'd found myself an improvised stake. As I couldn't catch it with my broken hands, I instead used my left leg, the only intact limb I still had. I performed a so-called wheel kick, lining my heel up with the stake to aim for Wilhelm's throat. I drove the stake down with the clear intent to kill. I didn't want to be a murderer, but I'd die otherwise. I had no choice. And so my merciless and unrehearsed acrobatic stunt miraculously succeeded. And yet, all I heard was a mocking scoff. Wilhelm once again took my attack head-on without dodging it. Not only did the stake fail to pierce him, the tip had also been crushed to pieces. Couldn't believe my eyes. Seriously, what kind of body did this guy have? How could it not pierce him at the thinnest part of his... Shit, I had to dodge! My reckless dodge in this critical situation ended up resulting in further damage to my own body. Dude, Jesus! Ren, you're durable, but my God! Holy shit! That one might have torn my left Achilles tendon. Several pieces of the shattered stake were piercing through my heel. It had to be some kind of sick joke. Was I going to die after having come this far? I had no idea why, but this guy's tenacity was absurd. I can only speculate that he had no vitals or weak points to begin with. Then, just... how? How would I win?
しかし消せねえな。お前本当にそんなもんかよ。そこらの喧嘩自慢に毛が生えた程度の力でどうにかなると思うほど間抜けじゃあるめえ。切れたもん勝ちがまかり通るご都合主義はよ、シュライバーみたいな反則バカ以外には起こせねえんだ。お前にそういう素質はねえよ。
I don't even know who Schreiber is. Who are you talking about?
それとも神風主義ってやつなのか。相変わらず東洋人は飽きやがんねえな。気合で勝てりゃてめえら戦争に負けてねえよ。
I didn't need to tell me. Knew that painfully well. What I needed now was a physical way to win. Striking during openings, coming up with plans, or dealing damage through straight-up methods wouldn't help me here. I couldn't use violence within the boundaries of common sense to defeat someone who existed outside it. Not to mention how he was toying with me while calmly gauging my battle prowess. Even if I could find some way to beat him, he'd most likely counter it in an instant. But even so, I couldn't just...
気に食わねえな。お前絶望が足りねえ。 これから死ぬ奴の目をしてねえ。こんなたわけた国と時代じゃ自分が死ぬって実感も持てねえのか。いや違うな、そうじゃねえ。覚えがあるぜ、そういう目。まるであのクソと同じじゃねえかよ。その全て分かってますってな面。
Wilhelm grumbled to himself, his gaze practically shooting icicles in my direction. Suddenly, I felt like that stare of his was robbing me of my body heat. I found my body simultaneously assaulted by a sickening combination of nausea, intoxication, and itchiness. I could neither breathe or blink. Hell, I couldn't even lift a finger. My strength had been drained, as if my life force was being siphoned out. In the blink of an eye, the blood pouring from my wound began to evaporate.
お前、まさかな。もしかして。
I felt convinced that it wasn't my fate to die here today.
In a complete turnabout, Wilhelm sounded to cackle, seemingly amused by something. His shoulders trembled violently as he attempted to hold it in, yet he ultimately erupted into booming laughter, unable to contain himself. You know, if this wasn't such a dire situation, that laugh is actually kind of infectious. Not even the dark of Wilhelm's sunglasses could hide the fact that his eyes glowed a bright hue of red. A demonic aura, powerful enough to manifest as a physical force, proceeded to beat down my whole body with the rage of a squall. Right now, my resolve was the only thing keeping my fleeting consciousness intact. Had I been mentally defenseless when I took that stare head on, it would have been enough to instantly kill me. Huh?
いいな、いいぜお前。そそるぜ、食いてたまんね。串刺して引き裂いて引き蒸して吊るして晒して吸ってやら。
Well, you're just a joy when it comes to partying, aren't you? His cry was an eruption of undulated, unmistakable ecstasy. The man before me found himself both overjoyed and enraged by something beyond my comprehension.
冗談じゃねえ、許せねえ。俺が小僧一匹やれねえなんて舐めてくれるじゃねえか、相変わらずよ。だったら試してやろうじゃねえか。ここでこのガキぶち殺せば俺はてめえより上ってことだよな、メルクリアス。
The surging waves of murderous impulse and evaporating blood dyed my vision red. Before me stood an honest-to-goodness scumbag, a genuine monster with no constraints to hold him back. In the face of that merciless pressure, I couldn't tell whether my heart was still beating. Jesus! This demonic arm of instant death came swift and sure. It appeared to move in slow motion, yet I could easily tell that a single hit from it would pulverize my skull. So, would I die here just as another victim? Seriously? Is I really going to die right here? Tell me, have you ever experienced the sensation of foreknowledge? The prior knowledge of a certain thing. A phenomenon that assaults all senses, sixth included. For instance, I've witnessed this scenery before. I've tasted this wine before. I've smelled this aroma before. I've heard this song before. I've bedded this woman before. I've experienced all these things before. If so, then no bliss will ever bring joy, nor will any threat instill fear.
The ability to feel moved by anything the world has to offer is the price paid for one's personal paradise. In that paradise, no one is downtrodden, no one is depraved of a thing. That world's only master is foreknowledge, a ceaseless recursion of repeating events. Yet in the grand scheme of things, is that not a denial of the concept of time? In truth, being robbed of anything in such a state is but an impossibility. All phenomena around you die, only to be born again, repeated in infinitum. You may think of it as a water wheel. Oddly specific, but I'll go with this. It continues to spin and spin, forever drawing and spilling water. Once you realize that the same concept constitutes the universal construct of the cosmos and its inhabitants, then what have you to fear? In your daily existence, you don't care for moments then take your breath away. For ascribing validity to foreknowledge is indeed in your very nature. You remain unlike one such as I, who craves desperately for the unknown. Now, Zarathustra, will you accept the gift I prepared to grant your wish? Both you and her were born into this world for a similar purpose. For her to meet you, and for you to wield her. Abominable girl, cursed girl, pitiful girl, damned girl. Hate her and love her, protect her and destroy her. She is the world's singularity, a being outside the boundaries of that law. She is dead, yet she is not. She exists outside this world's concepts. Perpetual, eternal, immortal, divine, infinite. Life beyond death. Iwigite. To control the Anernerbe, to wield it as the executioner's blade, though to reap the head of this universe's law. That is Iwikite. The sorcery I weaved and granted to my sworn friend and his followers. But his true successor is none other than you. The very fact that I'm giving her to you is firm proof of that. Indeed, for instance, take a good look at the man attempting to murder you. He too is yet another wielder of Iwikite. One of the beast's many fangs, a man who had devoured countless souls to elevate himself above mere mortals. Yet hardly does that mean he cannot be toppled by you. The Ananirbe lust for souls. The more they kill, the more they devour, the stronger their wielders become. Yet far be it for me to claim that quantity alone could triumph over quality. Listen well, Zarathustra. What I'm about to grant you is both the most wretched and most beautiful soul mankind has ever birthed. With her by your side, a mere 1,000 or 2 inferior souls should pose no threat whatsoever. You have my word. That when you reach completion, your prowess will rival even that of my own sworn friend. I shall anxiously await the coming of that day. Therefore, allow me to bestow upon you her soul, as well as the words to ignite the flames of sorcery. Okay, so the lady is a weapon? Halt, O time, for thou art fair. Within that hollow, empty space, following a moment that felt like an eternity, where a single second had been extended to last 1,000,000, my peculiar conversation with the entity finally came to an end. Willem's approaching fist of immediate death had barely moved from where I'd last seen it. Could I dodge it, and then launch a counterattack too? If so, then how would I do it? Both my hands and feet have been broken to hell and back. Even if I did try headbutting or biting him, I'd probably just end up hurting myself again. There was no point in trying conventional attacks. Simple punches or slashes wouldn't even put a dent in his armor. Then what would I have to do? How would I fight him? With a skill that could break through souls. With an art that could devour them. With a blade that could put an end to eternal recurrence. It was. That was. I'd already known. And so time began to move once more.
Ray, お前は何をしている?
The first thing I perceived upon returning to my senses was an intelligent yet slightly irritated sounding voice. Willem stopped right in front of me, his hand frozen in the shape of a bird of prey's claw. A dark-haired girl stood next to him, holding in place the very same hand that would have decimated my entire face with ease.
何のつもりだレオてめえはなぜ俺の楽しみを邪魔しやがる
まずこちらの問いに答えてほしいな。
Oh,
カズ
damn.
クルベイ注意殿。お前は一体何をしている?
I got fucked up.
何をしているかだと見てわからねえか。試してるのさ。ここでくたばるようなボンクラなら用はね
なら彼は合格だろう。経緯はどうあれ生き延びた。先の問いにはお前の行動が生産杯芸家の意向を逸脱しているからだと答えよう。さらに言うならこの件は私に一任されている。こちら
俺がお前の指揮下にある。
I mean, so possibly, yes.
芸家から聞いていないとは言わせないぞ。理解できなかったのならもう一度私から分かりやすく言ってやろうか。
Wilhelm's right wrist made a creaking sound. His flesh, the same body I couldn't even inflict a scratch on, buckling under pressure from the girl's slender hand. I couldn't believe my eyes.
彼に関してお前に生殺与奪の権利などない。これ以上逆らうなら黒煙卓に対する範囲とみなすぞ。お前の名誉は忠誠ではないようだからな。
Thanks for the save, I guess.
面白い。範囲ときたか。了解了解したよお嬢ちゃん。黒煙卓ができた時に生まれてもなかったやつに言われちゃおしまいだが、お前が正しい。ああ正しいと思う。名誉は大事だよな。名誉はよ。
Thank you for the save.
だからこのガキのことはもういい。知らん。バラそうが逃がそうがまたぐら開いて乗っかろうが好きなようにするがいいやな。けどよ
A little, unnecessary, but
お
okay.
前はなんで俺に触れてる。
何
It happened so suddenly. Wilhelm struck the puzzled woman with all his wrath.
てめえは劣等の分際で何をなれなれしく俺の体に触れてやがるって言ってんだよ。
Whoa. At the same time that landmine of a howl went off, the girl swept my legs and blew me away with a hit to the shoulder. The impact ravaged my internal organs, stirring up a new wave of nausea. But I was in no mood to complain. The reason was simple, because I would have died had she not done that. The brief moment I'd seen of Wilhelm's overwhelming wrath was enough to make me associate it with the very incarnation of death. I pathetically vomited up a mixture of stomach acid and blood, realizing how much of a miracle it was that I even survived. As for them,
やってくれるな。死にたいのかベイ。
そりゃこっちのセリフなんだよ。四半世紀も生きてねえチンケな猿が誰にタメ口聞いてやがる。
the tension in the air was nearing critical levels as the two exchanged glares. What in the world were these people?
殺す気だったのか。
それはてめえが防ぐんだろうね。レオンちゃんよ、事実そうなってるじゃねえか。濡れたか立ったか発情中か。猿同士で乳くり開いてんだろうがレッド野郎。見ててやるから淫乱しろや。
Okay.
殺すか。
I would not mind that, really.
やってみろや。
It's a bit too vulgar for my taste. Anyway, now that their attention was no longer focused on me, I attempted to make a move. Hi. Her again.
そんな顔しないでよ。別にひどいことなんかしないからさ。
Somehow I doubt that.
ねえ、一つだけ聞きたいことがあるんだけど。
Vanilla. What?
あなた、さっき何かしようとしてたでしょ。私の目は節穴じゃないんだよね。あっちの筋肉バカ二人と一緒にしてもらっちゃ困るのだよ、美少年くん。
Well, you do have an ahogi, so that means you have the potential of protagonist power.
あの時止められなかったら、あなたは何をしていたの？何をやろうとしていたの？そしてどうなっていたのかな？ほんと、空気読めない子って嫌だよね。余計な邪魔入れちゃうから、いいとこ見逃しちゃったじゃないの。でも、 ほんまそれなりに楽しかったよ。だからね。
She then placed her hand on my chest and began rubbing the wounds on my arms, legs, and the entirety of my body, almost like she was caressing them. What in the world was she?
いわゆる応急処置なのだ。
Huh?
面白いものを見せてくれたお礼だね。痛いの消してあげるから後でちゃんと病院行くのよ。飛んだり跳ねたりしたらダメだからね。
Did you actually just heal me?
で、何よその顔。人が親切心出してるのにさ。
Thanks? I could hardly tell if she was joking or being serious, but I had nothing to say.
まあいいや。特別に許してあげよう。それからさっきはごめんなさいね。教会がどうとか冗談だから。っていうかそんなことできないから。
Water under the bridge, do you want a smoothie?
なので
She poked the area between my eyebrows, then lowered her voice to a whisper.
今夜はこれでおしまいにしよう。
The second she said that, I lost control of my body and collapsed onto the ground.
はい、終了撤収。ほらそこ、いつまでじゃれてんのよ。やめてくれないと私泣くよ。泣いちゃうよ。私が泣くと大変だよ。だから
Sorry, I did not mean to do that. I thought she was done. With faint echoes of her indifferent voice still lingering in my mind, I finally lost consciousness. How long have I been out for? Maybe it's only been a few minutes, or possibly a few hours. Following my sudden awakening, I realized that someone must have shaken me up. Turning around, I saw... Oh! Hi! The black-haired girl who... Well, it was hard to say for sure, but it seemed like she had saved my life. She regarded me in silence, her expression visibly bored. There was no one else around. Wilhelm and the red-haired girl had already left. The body and all the blood had similarly vanished. Possible. How is this even...
処理はマレウスがやった。それからベイも今はあなたとあなたの周りに興味をなくしたようだから心配はいらない。
Can you tell Malleus I said thanks?
どうかした？
Initially confused by how exactly she had foreseen my question, I ultimately realized it couldn't have been particularly difficult. By cleanup, she was referring to the body, wasn't she? How'd they get rid of it without a single No, wait, I actually didn't want to know. No doubt, having guessed my thoughts from my expression, the girl let out a sigh.
理解に至ったようなら帰りなさい。
Okay.
忘れろと言っても無理でしょ。忘れてもらっても困るけど、今日のところはもうあなたに用はない。
Okay. Bye.
せいぜい交通事故にでも気をつけることね。
Oddly specific, but thank you.
体は平気？
I'm pretty sure a few of my vital organs are severely damaged, but other than that, I'm pretty good.
平気みたいね。立って帰ることくらいはできるでしょ。それで、あなたの名前は？
She just kept on going without any concern for my feelings. Go home? Yeah, I'd go home all right, but give my name?
教えるわけがないだろう。
ベイのことなら心配ないと言ったはずだけどね。
お前を信じろって。
こんな嘘をついて私に何か得があるなら教えてほしい。
You make a fair point. Well, that might have been true, but still.
自己紹介しないの？
Oh, okay, I was told to go with don't give my name.
するわけないだろ。俺は帰る。
そう。怖いなら家まで送ってあげましょうか。
Sure?
余計なお世話だ。
Okay. I turned around, spitting the words out.
また会えるといいわね。
Bye. Yeah, right. I never wanted to meet or even see her ever again if I could help it. God damn it, why? Did I really kill someone? Now the body was gone, I had no way of confirming.
じきにまた増えるわよ。
Well, I figured as much. It almost sounded like she had read my mind when she said that. I felt unbelievably irritated. Why did things come to this? I wish someone would tell me. Why did this have to... It was a miracle I made it back home in one piece after all. And that's where I am going to end it. Holy shit! Here I was expecting a turnabout of summoning some sort of power. No, I literally got saved by a strangely polite girl. Thank you, I guess? Also, thanks, Rusalka. I think that was your name for healing me? Rusalka, I think. Thank you, or Malleus, whatever the hell I want to call her. Thanks for the heal, I guess? I probably need to go to a hospital. Because I'm pretty sure my oh god, my pancreas is literally just dragging on the ground. Oh, god damn it. Okay, I gotta get a staple to put that back in. Anyway, guys, that is where I'm going to end it. So, that's... Jesus, that was freaking intense. My god. That was a little too much, honestly. I'm not I mean, to be fair, that was really intense. My god. Whatever his name, I forgot his name already. Well, she was calling him Bay, so, well, Bay is okay, I guess. Kind of violent. No, not kind of. Extremely violent. Ikigai. I'm probably Ikigai. I have no idea how to pronounce that. It's probably something simple like DS Irae, possibly, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to go try to relax because that was too intense. Who am I kidding? That was actually freaking awesome. But anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end it. So thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to go rest for a little bit. Jesus, that was... Ren, you are extremely durable, my boy. And I'm going to go get a smoothie. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hello there, everybody. Sabato92 here, and if you like this video, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And hey, if you guys like my content, then maybe you'd like to check out another channel who I think deserves equal attention. So click that Nightmare emblem and check out that channel, or go to the links in the description down below. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.